The standard way to make money in steel pipe manufacturing is simple. Play the volume game. You run your rolling mills at maximum throughput, compete aggressively on price, and let the sheer scale of your operation generate the returns. Then there is the specialty approach. On a high-mix manufacturing floor, the production process is incredibly slow, deliberate, and meticulously measured. You are no longer chasing tonnage. Customers in this space do not care if you offer the cheapest price. They sign contracts with you because you are one of the very few facilities on the planet capable of hitting their exact metallurgical specifications, and you have the rigorous paperwork to prove it. We see the financial reality of these two models here. On the left, a volume-based structural steel pipe manufacturer earns roughly 5 rupees operating profit per kilogram. On the right, Venus Pipes command 65 rupees per kilogram. They earn 13 times the unit economics. Venus earns this gap by prioritizing the technical difficulty of the task over the speed of the output. Venus operates what the industry calls a high-mix, low-volume model. They rely on intense manufacturing complexity and uncompromising adherence to safety specifications to drive revenue, rather than trying to push as much raw metal out the door as possible. To see how a high-mix model functions, look at this 3-dimensional matrix. A specialty manufacturer manages 3 intercepting variables: specific alloy grades, an extreme range of physical sizes, and multiple product forms. The first variable is the metal itself. Stainless steel is a family of alloys. Austenitic workhorses are used in food and chemicals. Then you move up to exotic grades like duplex for massive strength and titanium, a metal requiring entirely separate, isolated handling protocols. Next, apply physical dimensions. Venus produces tiny, seamless tubes with an outer diameter of just 6 millimeters. On the other end of the spectrum, their massive LSAW press shapes steel plates into welded pipes reaching 56 inches across. In commodity manufacturing, this level of variation is a massive liability. Every time you switch a grade or adjust a machine for a new size, the line stops and you lose money. Venus actively embraces these changeovers. Every time they successfully master a new grade or an extreme size, they wall off a new segment of the market. A high-volume competitor cannot bid on these contracts without tearing down their factory and rebuilding their entire qualification infrastructure from scratch. Venus is able to charge a premium because they sell into environments where a commercial failure triggers a catastrophic safety event. Consider aerospace or nuclear power. Venus supplies piping for Israel launch facilities and nuclear plant cooling circuits. Securing these contracts acts as the ultimate signal of technical credibility, as the material provenance must be completely flawless. In pharmaceuticals and specialty chemicals, the threat is microscopic. The internal surface roughness of a pipe must be kept below 0.8 microns. A single microscopic scratch can harbor bacteria, contaminate the fluid flow, and force a batch recall. Then there is the booming market for AI data centers. Venus provides the liquid cooling networks required for modern AI servers. A microscopic weld defect in the cooling loop can leak and instantly destroy tens of millions of dollars in sensitive GPU hardware. Procurement engineers in these high-stakes industries are buying risk mitigation. When the alternative is a catastrophic facility failure, the per-kilogram price of the steel pipe becomes secondary to the reliability of the vendor. Venus keeps 121 days of inventory on its books. In a high-volume business where cash needs to move daily, a 4-month stockpile would suggest a complete operational failure. Standard just-in-time supply chains fall apart in the specialty pipe market. If a pharmaceutical client requests an electropolished, highly specific hygienic tube, you must have it on the rack today. If you ask them to wait for a raw material delivery, they will immediately qualify your competitor. You also need the paperwork. This timeline shows a 9-year accumulation of institutional certifications. Without European TÜV approvals, Indian Boiler Regulation certification, and NABL lab accreditation, a company is legally barred from even submitting a bid on major infrastructure projects. The clients themselves add another layer of friction through bilateral qualification. Massive entities send their own engineers to audit the facility before purchasing. Once an audit is passed, the buyer is heavily disincentivized to switch to an unproven vendor. Holding 121 days of inventory and spending a decade chasing regulatory stamps are deliberate, aggressive strategies. They create steep capital and temporal barriers that lock in existing clients and starve out new entrants. Venus spent years building this capability block by block. They established standard welded pipes, integrated a piercing mill for high-pressure seamless applications, and installed massive presses to hit 56-inch diameters. Now they are attempting their most complex integration yet, a 70-crore spooling facility. Spooling means delivering fully custom, engineered piping assemblies, pre-welded and pressure-tested inside a controlled cleanroom. It removes the need for contractors to perform dirty, unreliable field welding out on a construction site. This forces Venus up the value chain, taking the high-mix model to its logical conclusion, moving from a supplier of highly certified metal into a provider of fully engineered mechanical solutions. This chart maps the financial friction. Venus grew revenue by 32% compounded over 4 years, but EBITDA margins compressed from 18.2% to 16.3%. As new plants came online, heavy surges in depreciation and finance costs applied intense downward pressure on their net margins. The return on capital employed metric also dropped, as the balance sheet expanded rapidly to build the seamless and spooling facilities. However, those massive new divisions are not yet running at their full earning capacity. The company now has to navigate global volatility in nickel and titanium prices, while simultaneously ramping up 2 highly technical divisions. Venus built a moat by prioritizing exact metallurgical precision over sheer volume. As their massive new facilities come online and they push exports into 30 different countries, the challenge is simple: maintaining that zero-defect discipline at a global scale.
If you like our video, please like, share, and subscribe.